I'm Mega Mike the Movie Man, and today I got a mega movie plan.
Today, I'm back with another Mega Movie News Roundup for you all. This is a segment on the channel where I cover important Mega Movie News stories that have come out this week. And today I'm going to cover 5 stories with you all, saving the most important story for the very end, and that's the update on the consequences for Will Smith's actions at the Oscars. So stay throughout the entire video to get to that final story. Also, if I miss any movie news and you would like me to feature it in a future movie news episode, just go ahead and email me at megamikethemovieman@gmail.com. It's completely free. Just let me know your name and story and we'll get that featured in a future episode. But without further ado, let's get started. Now to get into our first mega movie news topic, and this is coming from Screen Rant. Apparently, director Sandberg no longer has any interest in doing a Superman movie. Now, Sandberg has directed movies like Shazam, Annabelle Creation, Lights Out, and also has Shazam 2, right, Fury of the Gods, coming out in December. And he said he used to have interest in doing a Superman movie, but no longer. And let's look at this quote directly from the article here. He says, "At one point, I would have said Superman, but when there are so many different expectations and hardcore fans, you're going to piss off so many people no matter what you do. Seeing how people react to things like The Last Jedi makes me want to stay away from things like that." Shazam was perfect in that there hadn't been that many adaptations before. There are still people who think it was done wrong, but it was on a manageable level. And so that makes sense right there. I can understand director Sandberg wanting to stay away from such a big property and such a beloved character, because Superman is the granddaddy of all superheroes. He is the OG, and so many people have in their minds what they think Superman should be, and they all have a different picture of, hey, this is the right way to do a Superman movie. But there's been so many different Superman stories. It's like, how can you get it right for everyone? It's an impossibility. Whatever choices you make in a Superman movie, you're gonna piss off some group of Superman fans, and that just makes sense, just because there has been so many stories to this character, because this character has been around for such a long time. I mean, just look at Man of Steel as a perfect example. That Man of Steel to me is such a great movie, and I think it's such an underrated movie, and it was really well done, but a lot of people did not like Man of Steel because it wasn't their Superman, it wasn't what they were picturing. And so director Sandberg might be looking at that and saying, wow, that movie was really well done and it didn't get the best positive feedback. Maybe I should stay away from that character, because, Zack Snyder did a great job with Man of Steel, but not everybody agreed and not everybody enjoyed it like I did. So maybe it would be tough for a director to be like, well, even if I did try to strive to get to that level, still I would get backlash for it. Like, maybe that's not the best way to go. And going with a character like Shazam that we haven't seen as many adaptations for, that not as many people know. Of course, there is a fan base for Shazam, but it's a lot smaller in comparison to the Superman fan base, right? Like, everybody knows Superman. You talk to anybody on the street, they know Superman, right? You talk to somebody on the street, they may not know Shazam. There's actually probably a likely chance they wouldn't know, right? But yeah, I mean, it makes sense to really focus more on characters that aren't as well known, because yeah, you kind of minimize that risk of pissing off more people. But Superman, I could see you do that character, you're going to get somebody upset, you're going to get some group upset, because it's going to be, that's not my Superman character, right? They may think back to some Superman comics they really enjoy, or a Superman TV show, or even like the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, which I love those movies. That original Superman, the movie, is absolutely fantastic, and even the sequel is really great. Really awesome scores there. So to me, those movies definitely hold up to today. But if you go in to another Superman movie expecting that, well, of course you're going to be disappointed, because you're not going to get that. And I feel like as film fans, we often do that, where we have that picture of what the perfect superhero movie should be with this character we really care about. And if it doesn't play out exactly like that on screen and we get something different, then we're kind of like, oh man, I wish they would have done it my way. But we kind of have to check ourselves sometimes and be like, well, we're not the director in this situation, right? We're not telling the story. Yeah, so maybe we would tell the story differently, but we got to kind of go in with more of an open mind to some of these movies and just see what is presented to us. And then, of course, we can judge and critique it off of what we see. But I think we should go into every movie with a fresh mind to really give it a fair chance. Because I'm telling you, that Man of Steel movie is really good, really underrated. It's a hidden treasure of a movie. If you haven't seen it in a while, I'd say go back and see it and let me know what you think of that one because I think it's really good. But at first, when I saw Man of Steel, I will admit that, you know what, I wasn't a massive fan of it. But every time I go back and rewatch it, I really enjoy it a lot more. And now I consider, hey, this was a really great superhero movie. So sometimes we have to do that. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of sad that we have a great director like Sandberg that's like, yeah, I don't want to touch that character because, there could be some toxicity in the fan base. Now we brought up Last Jedi with Star Wars fans, right? Even though I don't think The Last Jedi was a good movie, I think it was actually not a well put together movie and it did kind of turn me off of Star Wars. But just that notion of wow, yeah, there's a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans out there, and I wouldn't even want to risk, angering this fan base here because, yeah, whatever you would do with a Star Wars story, there's probably going to be a lot of Star Wars fans that don't like it. I'm sure there'll be fans that like it, but no matter what you do, yeah, you're probably going to just anger some kind of the fan base because it has been around such a long time and everybody has in their mind, oh, this is Star Wars, this is what I want to see from a Star Wars movie. And so same thing with Superman and a lot of these popular superhero characters. So to me that makes sense, but I'm super excited for Shazam, the Fury of the Gods. Oh, I think I totally said that. Did I say furry? No, Fury, there we go. Yes, Shazam, the Fury of the Gods, that Shazam sequel I'm super excited for. I think that's going to be a really fun movie. It comes out in December, so it's not super far away. So I'm excited for that movie. I can't see what director Sandberg does with this one. And I wonder if we will get maybe a little Superman cameo in there as well, like we did with the original Shazam movie towards the end. That'd be kind of interesting. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of director Sandberg's comments and wanting to stay away from the Superman character? And what do you think this means for the Superman character going forward? Is anybody going to want to direct a movie that's just focused on Superman? Or are they going to be afraid of the backlash they're going to get? And do you have any directors in mind that maybe would be a good fit, that would be willing to do a Superman movie? Let me know that in the comments below. Now to get into our second movie news story, and this is brought to us by Variety. We have a Spy Kids reboot going to Netflix. Yes, of course, we're in the streaming wars right now, and all these streaming platforms are trying to get different IPs and bring them back to life on their streaming service. And you know what? Spy Kids was a franchise that I enjoyed at the beginning. I actually really enjoyed Spy Kids 1 and 2 as a kid. I had a fun time with those movies. I thought they were enjoyable. And I think, hey, you know what? You could do another Spy Kids. You could definitely reboot this franchise here. I think there's some potential, right? Because you can have a lot of fun with a spy movie, but it's more like family centered. It's more kid friendly. Because, of course, we have all these great adult spy movies like the James Bond franchise. But do kids necessarily want to see that? Maybe not. But you get Spy Kids, and you still get all the fun gadget stuff and the action scenes and all those spy elements, but now it's more family friendly. And I think this could definitely work as a reboot here. I think this is good for Netflix to do. Now, apparently, they got the same creator, Robert Rodriguez, who worked on the original series there. So, this is good to see that talent backed, and he's going to be writing and directing this reboot. So I'm kind of happy with that because if he can recapture what he did with the first couple movies there, I think this is going to be really fun. But then I also kind of think, well, you know what? If they were doing just a full on reboot, would you want a completely different take on it with a whole new writer and director? Just, using once again Spy Kids, but have a whole fresh perspective on it. Would that maybe work better to give us something different for today? That maybe a little bit more fresh to us and we might enjoy a little more. I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on it, but we'll have to see how it plays out. So it is a reboot, but you still got the same talent creating it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Now, there's not really any story plot details here. My guess, I think they're going with a whole new set of characters, like a whole new family and new kids and all of that. Well, I would have been probably more interested in them going with some of the original cast members, doing something like having the original kids now grown up and now their parents and they have their own families, and then those kids become the Spy Kids. I think that would have been an awesome tie-in, because then you're going to please fans of the original Spy Kid movies, capture that nostalgia factor, but then you can bring in some new audience members as well. I think that would have been a perfect setup. But I don't think they're going that way. I think they are going with a whole new set of fresh characters. And I think, yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. I am a little worried that it is going straight to Netflix because, Netflix original movies aren't usually my favorite. Sometimes they have some hidden gems on there, but usually it's like 1 out of 10 that are good. And usually 9 out of 10 just not so good. It's like a made for TV movie. So I really hope it doesn't become like a made for TV movie. I hope they do put the budget behind this one. They do put some, good quality time into making this one an actually really entertaining movie, and I'll give it a chance. I'll see what I think of it. Definitely get a review for it going when it does come out. But once again, this is just early stages right now. But yeah, so I'm sort of excited because I like the Spy Kids franchise overall. It's a name I remember, movies and I enjoyed when I was a kid. But I'm also a little cautious because it's going straight to Netflix. And I'm like, I don't know, we're getting probably different cast members here. So yeah, I'm still a little bit, between excitement and between like, don't know if this is going to be much good. But let me know in the comments below. Do you remember the Spy Kids movies? Did you enjoy them? Are you excited they're doing a reboot and going to Netflix with this one? Or do you think they should just stay away from the Spy Kids IP and just, yeah, do some more original ideas instead? Let me know that in the comments below. Now to get into my third mega movie news story, and this is brought to us from Variety. We have Jim Carrey retiring from acting. Now, initially, some people might be surprised with this news. To me, I wasn't too surprised. What I've seen from Jim Carrey recently in interviews over the past years, you can tell he has a different persona and vibe about him. You can tell that he wants to get away from the hustle and bustle of Hollywood and just kind of, live out the rest of his life in, some quiet and peacefulness. And to me, that totally makes sense. We look at this article here, and he says a statement that I thought was so powerful. He says, I have enough, I've done enough, I am enough. And wow, such a powerful statement there, and it makes totally sense. I mean, he has enough, right? He has tons of money from all the major movies he's done before. He says, I've done enough. That makes sense too. I mean, how else is he going to change his legacy now? I mean, he already has such a great legacy with being what I consider to me actually my favorite comedic actor of all time. I think, how could he do more to, change his legacy at this point? I mean, his legacy is just really all solid. And of course, he would want to go out on some high notes. And to me, he's just done some amazing movies. Liar Liar is my favorite Jim Carrey movie, but he just had so many different recognizable roles, from Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, The Cable Guy. I mean, you name it, all these Jim Carrey performances were excellent. The Mask, I mean, such great movies he's been a part of. So to me, he definitely has done enough. He has that legacy already, and I am enough, he says. To me, that's just him finding that personal acceptance there of, you know what, I am enough. Like, I'm good. I did my work. I contributed to Hollywood and society at large, and I'm good. I'm content with the work I've done. And so to me, really great statement here from Jim Carrey. So even though I'm a little sad that we're not going to be getting any more Jim Carrey movies, that I'm still, you know what, he's given us so much that, yeah, I can understand he wants to, retire now or at least take a long break. I mean, he's dedicated so much of his life to acting and has done such great work that, yeah, maybe it's time for him just to kind of relax, do a little bit of painting, just enjoy the outside and, yeah, just have a little bit of some quiet time. And we all need that once in a while. So totally get it. And this is just news that I think is a little bittersweet because, of course, like I said, right, we're not going to get those Jim Carrey movies, but then also we get to look back at all the great movies we have seen from him. The only thing that gets me a little cautious here is that he has Sonic 2 coming out soon, and then are we going to get a Sonic 3 because of this? That is one thing I'm a little curious about because I know they probably wanted to make a big franchise out of the Sonic movies. And now, what do we do with a Sonic 3? Yeah, there's other villains you can bring in for the Sonic character, like you can bring in a Shadow, right? That makes sense. But is it going to, really kind of downgrade the movie quality? Because to me, Jim Carrey was the absolute best part of the first Sonic movie. He was so entertaining and was just doing a great job there. So are we going to be missing something there in the third movie or any other future movies that maybe are going to kind of hurt the franchise overall? I'm not too sure. We're going to have to see how that plays out. And would they end up recasting his character? That's another possibility. I doubt it, but hey, you never know. So they could always do a recasting. So yeah, that's the only thing I get a little worried about and a little cautious there. But other than that, like I said, we've got an amazing Jim Carrey movies. And let's take a look again at the article here. And we have another quote just to kind of see, let's get some clarity on this. Well, I'm retiring. Yeah, probably. I'm being fairly serious, Carrie said. It depends. If the angels bring some sort of script that's written in gold ink that says to me that it's going to be really important for people to see, I might continue down the road, but I'm taking a break. And so that's what we get here in this Variety article from Jim Carrey. And I believe him, absolutely believe him, that it's definitely at least going to be a break for quite some time. And to really bring him out of that retirement, it's going to have to be an amazing script that I think really touches him, heart wise, just personally, that something he feels like, oh, okay, he is the one needed for this role, and it's going to make a really big impact on the world. And maybe he does come back for a movie like that. I could definitely see that happening sometime down the road in the future, possibly, but who knows? But definitely, we can see we are not going to be getting Jim Carrey for quite some time. And we've already, in recent years have been getting less and less Jim Carrey, but now this is kind of just the final send off here, it seems. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Jim Carrey retiring? And also, let's make this one a little fun and positive. What is your favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time? Let's have those movie discussions down below. Now to get into our fourth movie news story, and we have set photos from Creed 3 of what Jonathan Major is going to look like as his character, as the villainous role, and Jonathan Major is looking ripped in this movie. Jonathan Major was the actor who also played Kane the Conqueror in the Loki series, but I mean, wow, he has definitely got ripped for Creed 3, and I'm so excited for the Creed 3 movie. Anybody that knows me knows the Rocky movies are my most watched movies of all time. Not my favorite movies of all time, even though some of them are on my favorite list, but just the movies I watch the most, because those are like my workout movies. So I always play a Rocky movie many of the times when I'm working out. Just gets you so pumped up when it goes into that montage, right? So it never fails. Such a great montage sequence in all those different Rocky and Creed movies. So I'm really excited for Creed 3. I mean, Creed 3 I think is going to be an awesome movie. To me, I really enjoyed Creed 1 and Creed 2. I think Creed 2 is actually really underrated. Not sure why some people don't like that one as much, but I thought Creed 2 was fantastic. Just how they made you feel for Drago. Thought that was perfect. So I'm excited for Creed 3. Now, I don't think we have a lot of plot details here on the story of Jonathan Majors' character in this movie. All we know, he's the villain, right? He's the character that is going to be going up against Adonis Creed, right? Michael B. Jordan's character. And so that's all we really know, that he's going to be playing that villain role. But what's the other backstory behind him? Now, I hope they do give us a good backstory and give us why we should definitely care about this fight and what's going to make it so epic. Making this villain, I feel like, a little bit more relatable. If we can, maybe sympathize with this character, it's going to make the fight a lot more interesting. So I wonder what the story is going to be here. Is he maybe a boxer that was kind of inspired by Adonis Creed, and he always looked up to like Apollo Creed, and then that's how he got into boxing, and so that's why he wants to become the world champion, right? I mean, that would be a interesting take there. I don't know if this character is going to be related to another villainous character we've seen before, like if he's going to be related to Clubber Lang at all. That is another possibility. So I could see that happening as well. Or maybe he is just truly a fresh character that doesn't have any relation to any of the other characters we have seen before in the Rocky or Creed movies. And that can work as well. I mean, they just have to give him a good story, because I think they did such a good job in Creed 2 with the villain, kind of making you sympathize with the villain, giving us some good background information on that, and what Drago had to go through, and so now what his son has to go through as a result of the consequences of Rocky 4. I thought that was so well done. So if we can kind of get that backstory in there for Jonathan Majors' character, I think this movie can turn out really great. So really, definitely got to make sure there's some heart in this movie here. And so I think this movie is going to be a lot of fun. And, these set photos, once again, you can tell that Jonathan Majors took this role seriously, that because that's a lot of work to get that ripped in that amount of time. So he was putting in the hard work on the daily to get to that level, and to see that, somebody so dedicated to that role, to me, is really intriguing and important, because you're like, okay, yeah, this character is going to give it their all, basically, and hopefully that really shines through with the performance as well. So I'm super excited for Creed 3, because I'm a big fan of the Rocky and Creed franchise. Once again, my most watched movies of all time, and some of the movies in that franchise are definitely some of my favorite movies of all time. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Jonathan Majors and these set photos, and are you excited for Creed 3 as much as I am? Are you a big Rocky fan, and what is your favorite Rocky or Creed movie so far? Let's have that movie discussion down below. Now to get into our fifth and most major and final news topic of the day, we got to get updated on all the Will Smith news. So this here is brought to us by Variety. So let's take a look at this article. It says that Will Smith has resigned from the Academy. But what does this actually mean? Let's see what is written here in Variety. The Academy plans to forge ahead and conduct a formal investigation and disciplinary process on April 18, at which time the organization could impose further sanctions or punishment in accordance with its bylaws. In the meantime, here's what Smith's resignation means for the actor's Oscars future. Yes, he still gets to keep his Best Actor Oscar for King Richard. Yes, he can still get invited to future Academy Award ceremonies. Yes, he can still be nominated for future consideration. No, he is no longer a voting member of the Academy. So just by resigning, there really isn't much consequences here. Basically, he can't vote anymore on other nominees, or also I believe he can't get any screeners for movies as well. but that's not too big of a consequence. Basically, he don't get no more free movies, and he can't vote anymore. Not too big of a deal here, because he still gets to keep his Best Actor Oscar for King Richard, which I think he definitely should keep that because his performance had nothing to do with this other issue, so I'm glad they're not taking that Oscar away. He can still get invited to future award ceremonies here. Now, that might change once they go through their investigation and formal disciplinary process. They could end up still suspending Will Smith or even expulsion where he never gets invited back again to the award ceremonies. That is still a possibility, and I think something will be done there. I think he will at least get suspended. Now, it could be a year, 2 years, 3 years, just kind of as like a slap on the wrist. Or I mean, they could even go the expulsion route, and that's a possibility. Now, do I think he should face expulsion for this? Now, maybe. Now, reason why I'm saying maybe now is because there was more news that he was asked to leave the Oscars, and he actually didn't leave. He still just sat down, went through the whole ceremony, and got his award. Now, to me, that is really offensive because, like, hey, if the Academy is asking you to leave the award ceremony after you just smack someone, like, now it's time for you to leave. Like, there should be no question about it. So, him being completely defiant in that scenario, if that is true, to me, that warrants a more harsher punishment. So I could see now the Academy going the expulsion route. Even though I don't think it's a likely possibility, I still think it's a possibility that is on the table there. Because how are you going to be defiant to the Academy that invited you to the Oscars? I mean, you know what? It's like, okay, you acted in a certain way that you shouldn't have done in the first place, and now we're asking you to leave and you're still refusing to leave. I mean, at that point, the only way to get him out of there then would have been to basically get the cops involved. And from what I've heard, Chris Rock didn't want it to get to that level because it would have made a bad situation a lot worse, and that would have interrupted the show a lot more, and yeah, it could have gotten definitely a lot more serious. So I mean, that makes sense from that perspective not to do that. So yeah, it's like if the guy's not leaving, then we're really not faced with too many options here. So I do think the punishment will end up being a little bit more severe than I originally thought, because I was thinking maybe a 1 year suspension, maybe two, but now I think it is going to be more, either a longer suspension or even expulsion being on the table now, because you can't be defying the Academy like that in that way when you already interrupted their event here with something very serious. So yeah, that definitely is not good. So we'll have to see how it plays out. We'll definitely have another update on that after that process goes through. But we have some more news here brought to us from Variety that actually might be even a more serious consequence to Will Smith, and that is Netflix pumps the brakes on Will Smith's action film Fast and Loose. So it looks like Netflix is basically putting this movie now on the back burner that they had Will Smith for, and so I can see this really being some true consequences here that for now, Will Smith is probably not going to be getting movies made at the moment. And I don't think this is going to last forever. I mean, eventually this will blow over within the year, or when something else really bad happens and somebody else is now, getting all the attention here with another serious issue. So I eventually think this will blow over, but I think for now, studios, streaming platforms are a little cautious, and they're saying, yeah, maybe at the moment it's not best to have Will Smith in our movies and to have these movies on our streaming services or going to theaters or anything like that at the moment. Maybe they're just putting it here on the back burner, and so some movies here are just going to, kind of be put paused for now, but maybe in the future they'll come out. Because I do think Will Smith will act again. I mean, he won an Oscar for Best Actor. He's going to always be able to get work now and continue to get work. Of course, saying hopefully there's no more issues again, because there's a lot more issues and we start to see a pattern that could definitely change. But I do think because of his phenomenal acting, he will still get work. But I think for now, just studio's a little cautious with this one. So I do think this is going to impact Will Smith, and these are really the consequences we're seeing right now. But yeah, I mean, so many updates with Will Smith. I know we keep talking about Will Smith here, but there's just so much to unpack with all this information. But let me know in the comments below, now that we've gotten more news on, Will Smith not wanting to leave the Oscars, do you think the punishment should be more severe now? And what do you think that punishment should be? And how long do you think it is going to be before we see some more acting from Will Smith? When are we going to get some more Will Smith movies? Or is it going to get expulsion from the Academy and it's going to be a lot more severe, and maybe we won't get much more movies from Will Smith? Maybe he will end up being truly a bad boy for life. Just let me know your thoughts on the stories here in the comments below so we can have those movie discussions. So that will do it for another Mega Movie News Roundup, episode 14. If you missed any of the other past movie news episodes, I will link a couple of the recent ones down below in the description. Also, if you're just discovering the channel for the first time, make sure you subscribe right now. I'm going to get you tons of movie news, movie reviews, rankings, movie hauls, unboxings, you name it. We'll talk all things movies on this channel. I don't want you to miss out on any of that entertainment. So subscribe right now. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss when I post a video.
Well, we're waiting.
Also, like the video. And this is Mega Mike the Movie Man reminding you to make every day a movie day.